Okay, we're here with. Okay, introduce yourself for those who might not know who you are.
I write Web 1, Weber, Weboleum.
Okay, let's start off from the beginning. Where did you start noticing graffiti?
Oh, I started noticing graffiti early 70s with my mother. Riding with my mother in the subway. We would go to my grandmother's house. She lived a little couple stops away from where we lived in Brooklyn, and I just noticed all these colors on the trains. And being young, you don't know what it was done, so I thought they were crayons, and I was like, where did they get these big crayons from? Like, I want them. But that's when I like early, maybe 70, 73, 74.
Okay. Who are some of the artists that you seen up at the time?
Oh boy, I distinctly remember two names: Phase 2 and King 2. I specifically remember Phase 2 and King 2.
Okay. Are those the writers that inspired you to start writing?
No, no, no. I just remember seeing their names. They didn't really inspire me, because I was too young at the time. I was like maybe 10 years old, 8, 10 years old. So I really didn't know anything about graffiti. I just saw the colors.
Okay. How did you come up with Web, and did you have any other names you went by?
All right, how I came about web. I started writing in '79, and I used to write salsa because my father's Panamanian, and I wanted to keep it kind of, Spanish. And then I found that somebody wrote salsa on the line, so I couldn't write salsa. So I came with a southern name called OSE, OSE7. I was doing OSE pieces, and I had a buddy of mine that used to write web. But as we went along, he just wasn't interested in writing graphs. So when he quit, I took the name Web.
Okay. Who were the first writers you met, and how did y'all meet?
Let me see. The first writers that I met was probably when I got into art and design in '79. So Fable, DOZE was one of the first writers I met. ERNI, some writers in school that never got it, like some kid named Ace, and this guy named Mode. Who else? QUASAR 3. Who else? Who else? Who else? This guy named Robco, who was kind of very influential to me. Yeah.
Okay. So you touched on you went to art and design. So I'm assuming you was in high school when you started. Were there any other writers that went to the same school that wrote?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think when I went to art and design, I would have to say maybe collectively, at that time was maybe the best group of writers that were together, at once. Let's see, like I said before, it's Fable, POPMASTER FABEL, MR.WIGGLES, Lady Pink, Conan, DOZE, Scene TC5, QUASAR 3, Midge, ERNI, if I didn't mention him. DAZE was there for a while. Airborne. Who else? This guy named Tab, Sizer, Par. Who else? There were a lot of writers when I went to art and design.
Okay. What was the first crew that you was ever in?
Ooh, the first crew I was ever in was a crew called TCV, the Crazy Vandals. And I believe POPMASTER FABEL put me down in the Crazy Vandals.
Okay. Are you down with any other crews?
I'm down in a lot of crews. I'm down in a lot of crews. My crew, my former crew, Chaos Inc., TC5, FC, IBM, TDS, TM7, RIS, AOK. There's so many: FBA, X-Men. A lot. There's a lot.
Okay. Speaking of TC5, who put you down with the crew, and how did y'all meet?
Doc put me down in TC5 like around 80, maybe late 83, mid 83. I actually met Doc at Henry Champfan's studio maybe like in 82, and then we ran back into each other like in 83. And when I ran back into Doc, I was a little more up at the time. So, he threw me down.
Okay, was there any initiations?
No. Almost, but no.
Okay, did you ever go to the writer's bench at 149th Street, and who were some of the names you remember seeing at the bench at the time?
I went to the bench every day. Every day after school, I went to the bench. Oh, who was there? I mean, Tats boys were there. Nice Up, BG, Bio, Brim, Shane was up there. Ken, Cope, Bantu, Scheme, Agent, Rex 167. I mean, there were writers from all over the line went there, so I met a lot of writers up there.
Okay, what lines did you write on, and did you king any?
I thought I kinged them back in the day, but I now that I look back, I don't think I really kinged them. I came close to kinging the threes, but I've hit the ones, the twos, the threes, the fives, letter lines, A's, B's, C's, E's, F's, the J's, R. I didn't go all city, but I like to hit the letters and the numbers. But I like the letters more than the numbers.
Okay, in your opinion, what was your peak years on the subway?
I would say 84 to 86. I did a lot of pieces in 84. In 86, by 87 I was basically done.
Okay. What was your favorite type of paint to paint with back in the day, and what is your favorite now?
Oh boy, back in the day, if it was the winter, Krylon, summer, Rust-Oleum. But I used to use like wet paint, wet look, Martin paints. What's that other paint? Epoxy. Anything that stuck I used, but it was basically mostly Krylon and Rust-Oleum and wet paints.
Okay, I know you probably have a lot of chase stories. Tell us your favorite chase story, and who were you with, and what went down?
Oh boy, let's see. I've had two. I've never really got really like.
Or your favorite raid stories?
Let's see, raid story. Okay. One night, excuse me, well, my partner YZ, we went to New Lots. I come from Europe, and I wanted to go bombing. So let's go to New Lots. So we go to New Lots. We're doing throw ups, freshly painted white cars. We're doing all these throw ups, and in the next lane, train rolls in, and there was like, I might have been a conductor or whatever, and he saw us. And I was like, something, we got to get out of here because they saw us and they're going to call the cops or whatever. So we did some commando type of thing. We jumped down in the tracks and we literally crawled on our elbows underneath like 6 rows of trains just to get out. And it was crazy. Another time I actually jumped off the wall at New Lots. And it's a high drop. It might be like a 2-story drop, but sometimes you got to do something crazy just to get away. But other than that, I really never had like been raided. So.
Okay, you mentioned YZ. How did you meet YZ, and what's your favorite moment with him?
Well, the raid story was my best time with YZ. I met him through some mutual friends. We were in a crew called CLK. And he was a member of CLK that I had never met. And we planned to go bombing one day, and I finally met him. And it was just something about about him that we just was a mutual friendship as soon as we met each other, and we've been like best friends for like 40 years. He's not even a friend no more. He's like my brother, you know. But we've been through a lot, you know, good times, bad times. You know, we bombed a lot, but yeah, that's my brother.
Okay. Have you ever had a battle on the subway? And if so, how did the battle go? Have you ever had a battle on the subway? And if so, hold on, I can't edit this one. Have you ever had a battle on the subway? If so, did you, if so, how? Okay. Okay. Have you ever had a battle on the subway? If so, who did you battle, and how did you get into the battle?
Now, I never really battled anybody on the train, but me and Doc would always talk. Like, we would do a car, and he was like, yo, I burnt you this time, or you burnt me, you know, I burnt you. We would just go back and forth, but it wasn't that we were really battling each other. It was just to get the best out of each other. You know, so he would talk crap, I talk crap, and you know, you got me in this car. Like when we first painted, he was like, yeah, you got me this time, but never again, never again. And we would talk crap on the way to the yard, but it was just to get the best out of each other. So at the end, you got that really nice whole car, you know. So it's just basically encouraging each other.
Okay. Speaking of battles, TC5 battled TMT a few years ago. Was you involved in that, and who do you think was the victor?
I was asked to be down in that, and I choose not to participate in that because I'm down in TC5 and TMT. Even though I was down in TC5 longer, I have ties to TMT longer because I grew up with one of the TMT members. So I just kind of wanted to stay neutral.
Okay, you moved to New York to Atlanta. Was it a culture shock, and what was the scene like over there?
It was kind of a culture shock. It's a lot slower pace in the South, in Atlanta. Fashion at the time was a lot different. I thought at the time that their fashion was years behind compared to New York. Now they've caught up now because you know everything's changed, but it was a lot slower for me. It's a really slow pace, very laid back. It was kind of hard to fit in, but the cost of living was so much cheaper than New York. I couldn't turn it down. But you know, it's all right. I don't know if I want to stay there the rest of my life, but it's nice. It'll do for now.
Okay, who are some of the dope writers coming out of Atlanta?
Let's see, my man Poe, my boy Sky, Totem, Tats is down there. He's a really good, and this, I wouldn't say really new guy, this guy named Vane. Really incredible guy. Really, really good letters, good colors. Who else? Yeah, that's it. I mean, there's some other guys, but those three guys really stick out to me.
Okay. Do you want to touch on something that we may have missed, or do you think we covered everything?
We covered everything, but my advice to younger writers is just don't get big-headed. Treat other writers with respect. We're all in the same game together. If you see a younger writer, try to give them some advice that'll steer them in the right way. Don't, disrespect them and call them a toy and all that, because you never know who that person's going to end up to be down the road. So, just kind of, not to say pass the baton, but just kind of advise these kids, kind of push them in the right way. Tell them to learn the history of graph and, tell them to look at the old master style to get an idea of what, they can do. Okay.
Any last words or shout outs to family members or friends?
Just everybody, everybody that I know what's up, I hope everybody's well, just, we got to keep keep the culture alive, even though I don't paint that much. But, you know, we got to keep on going. We got to support each other, too. It's very important that we support each other and, you know, just keep it going.
All right. Thanks for the interview. WEB TC5. Peace.